not winning yet. Whew. And I've already got a sore finger. Like every project, there's always multiple strands. If you haven't watched our other videos, you could see perhaps what I've been doing with the engine, because I've had a few problems in that area, and you could also see me painting this frame. At the moment, I've got it thrown together just so I can wheel it about. What I intend to start doing now is actually checking everything through so that it's actually a rolling chassis I'd be happy to ride rather than just push. So this video is basically stripping out things that are already on the bike, yeah, just to make sure that I put them back together in a way that I think is safe rather than just thrown on to move about. It looks like somebody's taken some care and attention in choosing components and putting them together. But I thought that about the engine, so I'm going to make sure, take off the back wheel, check all the stuff through, check the swing arm, check the bearings, build it back up, make sure that I'm happy with that. Same with the front. I wasn't going to strip the forks, and I might still not, but at least I am going to have a look inside, see what's going on. They seem very firm.
Perfect.
Check out the swing arm. It's basically a, will it rock from side to side, which it doesn't. Can you twist it, which I can't. You're feeling for any kind of movement really. There shouldn't be any movement in it. Obviously you need to have it tightened up as well. Well, that seems good. Now I'm going to take it off and put the chain on. And this is always a bit of a faff, bringing everything together. Jobs are good. It's a little bit offline, but I'm sure I'll sort that out. That's the back wheel in place. Obviously I've got to make sure I get the right bolt for that, make sure these are all torqued up to the right thing, and I can't adjust the chain obviously until I've actually got the engine in. So I'm nearly there with that, just a bit of tidying up now. That should hold that up. I'm going to look for a better one of these, I think. Maybe stainless, or maybe I'll clean this up and powder coat it. In the meantime, I'm going to give it a quick clean, spray it with some rattle can just so it doesn't look out of place, just while I'm using it at this point. You can see the pitting on it, so I don't want to use that long term, but it'll do for now. When I put the forks back on, I noted that it's got taper bearings, and I re-greased them and I've tightened them up. Apart from checking the fasteners at the front, I know that they've had, I believe, RaceTech internals put in. Not sure whether that's just springs or what. So what I intend to do is to take off one of the nuts and just pull the spring out and have a look. Now, it caused me a bit of concern, this, because this literally no bounce at the front whatsoever, even with the engine in. So I'm a bit concerned that this might be under a fair bit of tension with some preload. I have had experience in the past of undoing one of these and it shooting off into space. So I'll be a little bit circumspect as I take it off and have something to catch it with. And what I think I'll do is I must admit, spring tension can scare you. This should be fine, but who knows if it is. Ba-ding! I was right to be cautious. And there we have a spacer, and luckily we've caught everything on the floor. These are the parts that found their way into the sky. There's a couple of washers that must sit on the end of here and the plug. Now in reality I'll probably be able to put that back in without killing myself, but first of all let's have a look at the rest of it. So I've got a spacer, and it did say in the instructions that these can be adjusted to suit for preload. Another washer. And the spring. One washer on the bottom. Now, there is some fluid in there, so one assumes that they've also put in the correct volume of damping fluid. Looks like a nicely made spring. So all I'm going to do now, for now, is to put it back together. I'm not going to worry about the fluid level. What I will do is when I've got the engine back in, I've got the bike out on the road, is I'll then consider what I should do with the preload. I'm not going to worry about it too much. I'm just going to put this back together, but so that I can refer back to this without having to take it apart. These are 1.5mm thick, each of the washers, and we know that there was 3, and this is, I'd say that was 69mm, so 69mm and 3 1.5mm washers. Now, am I going to be strong enough to put this back in? With a standard spring in a CB, usually there isn't any sort of faffing like this. I'm just going to push that in. Don't want to mash my paint up. What you don't want to do is cross thread it, which can be quite a nuisance. So that wasn't right. Let's have another go. That's it. Get it on a few before I put my teeth over the top of it. There we go. I've had a good look through the back end and the front end of this now and put some other bits together. It's certainly good enough as a rolling chassis to push around. I'll definitely give it a load of pre-flight checks when I eventually get an engine sorted into it. So I'm not going to go through everything repeatedly. I would probably be happy to ride it as it is. However, I will be checking it again. A few things I've found. I've put some of the engine bolts back in to have a look. One of them's just a threaded rod, so I want to get the proper one for that. It's always a good thing to check all your fasteners out as you're going along to make sure you don't leave it till the last minute when you're trying to put everything back together and you discover you've got some important parts missing. Other things that I've discovered. Well, the front forks have got good springs in and quite hefty spacers. They've not got any give in them whatsoever. Once I've got the assistance of the engine in, that might actually be a bit better than that. I suspect, for me, I'll want to take some of the preload out of that, and I'm not the smallest of guys, so I think that that was set up for either a giant or someone who just didn't like suspension. Another thing is the brake works a treat, but the brake hose, I've noticed, is right at the extent of its limit. It's sort of fully stretched out there. I actually think that it would benefit from having the metal pipe from the caliper and coming to the back of the fork leg. I'm not keen on that. I don't know. Once the bike's moving about, it might be fine, but I wouldn't trust that. I'm gonna change it. That's the end of this particular set of checks that I've done. Still got all the debacle of what I'm doing with the engine. Next thing I'm going to do, other than the engine, is I'm going to have a look at the electrics. I've already started putting some bits back on to have a look at. So, look out for the video on that next time. If you haven't already, do subscribe. And if you're the kind of person that likes to do things, put a like on. It really helps us. Thanks very much for watching.